You are about to enter the Red and Rev Sports Show experience. Get ready for some real sports talk from some real sports fans who were real sports athletes who have sports knowledge.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is the coach right here on a beautiful Saturday, February 28th, 2026. To talk about ranging from the Braves getting their own network, Kevin Durant sounding off on his critics. You got the combine. You got college basketball about to round out into full speed, and you got many other things going on. We're gonna run the gamut today. From we may even throw in a little hockey. You never know. We do everything on this show. But come on in and join us. We welcome you. If you're not doing anything on a Saturday, come on in and spend the next hour or two with us, and we'll keep you covered on what's going on in the world of sports. Holla.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Red and Rev Sports Show featuring Coach, and also sharing with us on today is guest Horace, better known as Ho from the Sports Roundtable. We come to give you real sports talk because we are real sports fans who are real sports athletes. We have what, gentlemen? Real sports knowledge. Okay. So hang out with your boy, Reverend Coach and Horace. Episode 413 of the Red and Rev Sports Show. And as is our custom, we turn our numbers attention to our residential numerologist, Coach Patrick Thomas, to give us something or someone dealing with those three digits, 4, 1, and 3. Coach, what you got for us for number 413?
Well, Rev, we got an interesting 413 today. It's going to come right out of Pennsylvania, where we see that Larry Brown, Colton Hilliard, and Jamar Williams of the Coatesville Red Raiders combined for 41 points to lead the Coatesville Red Raiders to a win in their third district game on this past week. They got a big win, so there it is, 41 points from those three guys combined in the third game of the district playoffs. And don't forget, tomorrow, the finals of the district championship, Coatesville is going to be playing. Make sure you tune in. I got my sensory apparatus ready to go. 413.
That was very interesting, Coach, to say that. now you about to make me fact check you just to make sure you didn't make that up.
Yes, sir. I'm looking right at it right now. 61-54 the final. I'm looking right at it.
All right. They beat is that game they beat Methacton?
Yeah, one of them names that I can't pronounce.
Yeah, Methacton. Yeah. Big ups to you, Coach. You have really become a supporter recently, watching the run of the team that I cover here locally where I live, Coatesville Basketball Red Raiders. I know Hoban looking at one of their particular players who's been linked to potentially going to Duke, named Colton Hilliard.
Yeah, don't make Coach have no breakdown before we start the show.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So Coach, that was very creative. I didn't see that one coming. But big shout out.
Yeah, I got to cheer for somebody since Midtown is not in the playoffs anymore, so I have to put my attention.
I got you.
Cheer for somebody.
I got you. All right, here we go. Harry Britton, good morning to you. Happy birthday, Art Guerrero. Oh, it's his birthday this weekend. I didn't know that.
Yes, today.
Today.
Oh, okay. So that may be the reason why he's not on. He may be recovering from festivities last night. Winston, what's going on, bro? He said, chat smash that like button, y'all share. Appreciate you with the share love. VP's in the building, feeling a little under the weather. Join the club, man. But I'm here, dog, ready to slam down the Mucinex gavel. I'm with you too on Mucinex to begin another healthy session of the Red and Rev Sports Show. Hashtag Revenite Nation, be healthy and rise up. Appreciate you, man. Good morning to you, Harry. Thank you so much. And thank y'all for showing Red some birthday love. And now it makes sense why he said he may be joining us later. So who knows if he's coming here. VP said Coach reached deep in his bag on that numerology. That he did. And he definitely surprised the HECK out of me. So I appreciate that on today. All right. As Winston said, smash that share button. If you don't, please like and share. Don't mind. Who knows, your share might literally bring somebody else to the Revenite Nation, one of the best sports nation in sports talk. So please, man, please, sir, if you don't mind, hit that share button. And as I tell my church family, whenever I'm doing something virtually, I dare not ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do. So I'm making sure that I share on my social media outlets to let somebody know what they can watch on today and get some good, healthy, and wholesome sports talk. Also, we want to welcome Reverend Knight Nation, which we already did. Comments have already been shared. We truly appreciate Reverend Knight Nation. They help make this show what it is. Thanks to the VP for blessing us with hitting the gavel and on time. So we appreciate that, Mr. VP. Let's see if anybody else chimed in. So where is the Braves Network? We'll get to that in just a moment. For that's one of our hot topics on today. Let's jump into it, gentlemen. We normally start our show with what we call our dope, nope, and cope moments. Our dope moment, what's our best exciting moment for the week? Nope. What we're still shaking our heads about, saying that it's not too good for that particular sports topic. And cope, what we're still trying to wrestle with. All right, so with that being said, Ho, we're going to start with you, brother. Ho, what do you do?
I am doping on Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards. As much as he's been dragged through the media for his baby mama drama and things of that nature, he continues to show why he is unofficially the face of the NBA as he knocks down a deep three and goes on to tell his coach, I am the pass. You don't want me to pass the ball. This is what I do. So shout out to Anthony Edwards to showing his Atlanta grit as he hit a game-winning shot the other night.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent.
All right, Coach, what are you doping on, sir?
I'm going to dope on Rev's favorite 2K player, Jonathan Kuminga, who has come into the Atlanta Hawks organization and decided, hey, if y'all don't want to do it, I'll do it for you. And it's shown out in the games he has started so far in 2 big games, over 30 points and contributing in all kind of ways to help the Hawks pick up wins. So big ups to Jonathan Kuminga, who joined the Hawks just a few minutes ago.
All right. Yeah. All right, I'm going to have to dope on the San Antonio Spurs, who are just balling, have been undefeated for the month of February on 11-game winning streak led by that big beast Victor Wembanyama and then Stephen Castle doing his thing, Vassell doing his thing, then the rookie from Rutgers, Harper, is doing this thing. They got a well-oiled machine, and it looks like we might be up for another San Antonio dynasty in the years to come. So I'm doping on the San Antonio Spurs.
Winning.
All right, Coach, what are you doping on, man?
My note moment goes to and he was one of my favorite, well, not favorite, but I liked him, Lou Dort, for putting that little Mr. Wrestling 2 shoulder block on Nikola Jokic while he was running down the court and wasn't even paying attention. They got him ejected, even though they won. But Lou, that could have been a more serious issue than it was. As it was, nobody got seriously hurt. And I haven't seen Jokic look like that since his horse won in his derby. But you about to get slapped right then, because that was unnecessary, Mr. Dort. Lou, if Jokic had got his hands on you, that could have been an interesting fight. And I know WWE is tonight, but we could have had WWE last night. Lou Dort, that was kind of childish. So he get my note moment.
I'm going to nope real quickly, and I had my nope, and it just went through my mind as I was trying to get my thing together. But who am I noping on? Oh, I'm noping on Steve Kerr. That's who I'm noping on. This has been a nope that's could be going on for about 3 years now. Many people like to credit him with the success of the Golden State Warriors, but I have to nope on him as a developer of basketball players. It's quite conceivable that if Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green had been drafted by the Golden State Warriors and had to be developed by Stephen Kerr, none of them would become NBA Hall of Famers, which all three of them at some point will become. Because we have seen that any young player that has been drafted by the Golden State Warriors since Steve Kerr has been the coach, they have been, using the words of one of the good comedians, what's his name? B-Dub? Trash. We saw Poole, who's now trash. James Wiseman, trash. Jonathan Kuminga was trash for Golden State, might be a treasure with the Atlanta Hawks. Moody, still trash from where he should be as a third-year player. So I think it's time for us to make sure that we don't make the mistake of calling Steve Kerr a great coach. He's a great manager of talent that was already developed, but he's been terrible at managing and developing talent. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I've been holding this one in for 3 weeks, especially after the Jonathan Kuminga trade. All right, Ho, what are you noping on, sir?
I had two note moments, but I'm gonna choose one just to see Coach's reaction to this. I'm gonna note on a Charlotte radio host suggesting that Coach K is the number 2 best coach in Duke history thus far, based on what Shai has done this year in his up into his 4th year of coaching. I'm noping on that because Shai has not won a ring. And how easy is it to keep the train that Coach K built in the lane? You know, Coach K had to build it from the mud, and Shai just took the reins and just kept it in the lane. Sort of like what Steve Kerr has done. So, yeah, I'm noping on the fact that somebody can even come to grips to say such idiotic things.
Hold on, before you go, Coach. I got to play this. One of the classic clips for whoever said that. Here it is.
Son, I'm just gonna tell you this one time. You want to keep working here. Stay
Stay off the drugs, man. Whoever was trying to get that hot take.
Exactly.
Mr. McDowell from Coming to America said, son, stay off the drugs. That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
Exactly.
Anybody who listens to that and gives that any credence, they know they should take away their sports talk card, because that's ridiculous. This man, Coach K, got decades and championships upon championships, and Shire had a team last year that should have won it and fell short. So, like, come on, man, stop that foolishness, man. Stop that foolishness. All right, let me jump into this. What I'm coping with. I'm coping with the fact that Kansas freshman phenom Darren Peterson all of a sudden getting well after all the backlash that he received this past week, taking himself out of the game. 20 and then say I can't do it. Then all of a sudden, when folks start questioning his heart for the game, start telling GMs on television to not take him number 1, all of a sudden he's found healing, soul, and for the body. What's up with this, Brother Peterson? Come on, man. Were you trying to low-key, low management while in college so your body wouldn't be taxed as much, so it could be as fresh as possible once you got to the league? But something is rotten in the cotton in land. All of a sudden, you get healthy once you get all the backlash. So we're going to be staying tuned to look at your health the rest of the way. But you're too talented of a ball player to be playing any games, any foolishness. By far, in my opinion, you're the top talent in college basketball. Act like it and show it and play the minutes that need to be played so that you can ultimately be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we should call this segment another segment to add to it. Is get it off your chest. Cause Rev, you sure got that off your
chest. I like that. All right. Oh, what you coping with?
I'm coping with the fact that Jonathan Kuminga has come to the Atlanta Hawks to give them a boost as Jalen Johnson goes down with yet another injury. But once he comes back, I'm coping with the fact that Quinn Snyder, now, can we depend on you to develop these two guys and what we have coming off the bench with Corey and CJ coming off the bench shooting the ball? Can we actually get into the playoffs with what you have and the guys that you have been granted with? Kuminga a beast, Jalen has been a beast, and the rest of the Hawks has been doing what they need to do. So I'm coping with the fact that, are you going to screw this up, Quinn Snyder, or are you going to get us into the playoffs and show us that you are a coach that needs to stay for another year? We'll see. It's all in your hands right now, sir.
We'll see. We'll see if Ho's dream will come true if Coach Quinn is able to develop them. All right, Coach. In this segment, the Reverend Knight Nation will come to get your dope and open, Coach. So feel free to put them in the chat. We're coming to you right after Coach goes. Go, Coach.
This is gonna be scary. I'm gonna cope with the Atlanta Hawks again for having Magic City night at the State Farm Arena. Hawks, are y'all in need of fans? Are you offering something that you're not gonna tell anybody until they get a certain ticket or something? Because this going what is it, lemon pepper wing night, I guess. And if you go to a certain what they call them, suite, you get what Bernie Mac called. Let me stop. I don't know about this idea. I'm sure it'd be well received by somebody, but I don't know. But hey, it's already in the works now. They done talked about it all over the world on national news. So enjoy Magic City night while you play the Orlando Magic. Maybe that's it. I am concerned.
What coach didn't tell you that he has tickets for that game?
Look
he
here.
got tickets.
Hey, Joe.
He got tickets where the closest pole gonna be.
Hey Joe, hey, let me tell you something. I have never tried the lemon pepper wing. That's the reason that I'm going, because I have never tried the wing.
Oh my God.
And this would be a perfect opportunity.
This can be a disaster if this thing doesn't come off right. Like somebody might lose their job over this one. Like that's a little bit too risky. That's a little bit too risky. You know. And we got to start questioning the fans who bring their children to Magic City night. Like we got to.
So imagine what the halftime entertainment gonna be.
Exactly.
on the floor.
They're gonna be important poles to the floor, man. Come on, man.
Exactly. Hey.
You can't have the gospel choir come out on Magic City night. Come on now.
They may have an amateur night. For those who don't necessarily dance in Magic City, they have a amateur night tryout.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, let's see what Reverend Knight Nation talking about real quickly. The VP is doping on Norfolk State, and New York City streetball legend Pee Wee Kirkland was inducted to the New York City Basketball Hall of Fame along with Stephon Marbury and Sue Bird. Pee Wee Kirkland, the NBA legend that never was, turned down the Chicago Bulls twice. They offered him $20K contract. He reportedly pulled out of his pocket more cash than the proposed contract. Man, what could have been. Red is watching. He's doping On the ESPN Friday night matchups, both games were intense battles that went into OT and provided a possible conference finals preview for both sides. Red, that would be great if you would add the names to the teams. That would be great. Appreciate you, though. He said, Joker looked like he was possessed by the exorcist in that moment. Lou Dort hired some security, but he's talking about, I guess, OKC and Denver. The VP is double doping on U.S. women's hockey team for winning gold. Moresco actor Stanley Tucci treating them to dinner at his favorite Italian restaurant after they vehemently refused to make a White House visit. Big ups to those ladies and big ups to Stanley Tucci, all warm, quality food in a restaurant setting. LOL. Winston is doping on Braun passing Rodman in career rebounds. The VP's doping on, so the White House is up to their shenanigans. Again, the U.S. men's hockey team was treated at the White House with cold quarter pounders, no fries, and small bottled waters. Yep.
Not the quarter pounders. Oh, my God. Not the quarter pounders.
Red says Steve Kerr is just an overrated babysitter. That's a nice way of putting it. VP said, I think Coach wrote that article on Coach K.
Yeah, no.
He wrote that article. Laugh out loud. Winston said he's open on USC wide receiver Lemon press conference where he said he mirrors his game after Amon St. Brown, but he looked like Hannibal Lecter up there.
He did.
Harry said WWE tonight matches are weak. That should be with an AK. Winston right there said he's coping 2.0, LaTroy Lewis being fired from the Atlanta Falcons after rape allegations surfaced from 2024, and Sherrod Moore being implicated for sexual harassment with the same woman. Reds Rose DP from Kansas pulling cheap miracles like Eddie Murphy, suddenly gaining sight and the ability to walk in traded places. Winston said, not filing her initial complaint to Moore about Lewis under Title IX. What's done in the dark shall come to light. Red says he's noping on Lakers for losing to 3 non-healthy teams after being completely healthy, shaking my head. Harry said Magic City Night is genius and T.I. to perform.
No, it's not.
T.I. go perform a new song at Magic City Night, huh?
Yeah. Red Rose coping with the fuckers not doing their homework when drafting players and hiring coaches, spending exchange periods. And now LaTroy Lewis, geez, have you ever heard of background checks?
Red, you got a lot to say for not being on the show.
Oh, man. The VP said Money Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao now. Stop it. We do not want to watch this again. 2 old ninjas duking it out in the ring, fleecing us for pay-per-view dollars. We'll talk about that.
Please me.
Timothy Sago Sr. says he's coping with big ups to Flavor Flav for treating the U.S. women's hockey team way to step up. Nope. Who is doing the Falcons background checks? Inquiring minds want.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's credibility is already starting to be on the line. Quick, fast, and hurry.
Matthew Ice.
So we're going to have to see in just a moment. All right, let's get to this NFL scouting combine. The information has started to matriculate as we see that the draft is about to be right around the corner in 1 month. So, Coach, I'm going to start with you right quick. What are your thoughts about the NFL combine? And somebody said the Olympics in underwear. What do you have to say about it?
I said I'm just sports round.
Well,
go ahead, Coach. I'm
that's
sorry.
not me.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. You got some guys who just said, hey, I'm gonna take this opportunity to show that can move my draft stock up a little higher if I show out at this combine. And some jokers been showing out, like Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. He came in as a linebacker running a 4.46. I'm like, good God Almighty, a 4.46 for a linebacker. And then his brother came in, Lorenzo Styles, the safety, running a 4.27. Like, hey, hold my beer. And then the tight end from Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq, running a 4.39. So some of these guys are saying, hey, this is my time to show y'all. You're going to move me up in this draft. It's a lot of draft. And now today is going to be the day. They have predicted that somebody will bust the record for the fastest player at the combine, because they said they got some burners coming in there today at wide receiver and running back. So I'm going to be interested to see this. It starts around 1. They're going to have them running. And Rev, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Could you please tell Diego Pavia you didn't win the Heisman, dog? They're not going to give you the Heisman for being the biggest mouth in sport in the combine or whatever, talking about this or that. You still not going to get it. Could you please be quiet, sir, and stop talking so much and get out there and do some kind of drill or something so we don't have to listen to you proclaim. 1 minute you proclaiming Jesus, then the next minute you telling the voters to F themselves. Come on, man. Leave the microphones alone.
Wow. That's interesting. Oh, you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you got to add to what Coach was saying?
Listen, believe it or not, I'm going to concur with Coach, even though he liked this, he liked that weaker blue, but we'll forgive him for that. But I say this combines, I say a lot of teams are going to miss players based on their first initial take and how they may not look at the numbers at this the Underwear Olympics, and how these tight ends and defensive linemen are really, and the edge rushers are really putting up some real good numbers here. And I think that the NIL money that these players are getting, they are investing in nutrition, or they're investing into the bare bones delivery system. But whatever it is, they show putting up some good numbers. So I think a lot of teams will miss their players that they actually need, because it is some guys that's putting up some real good Underwear Olympic numbers right now, especially at the tight end position. So I agree with Coach.
Underwear Olympics.
So are you both rather impressed with the combine numbers, and do you think that can combat the lack of star power that we're not seeing in this particular draft?
I would say,
well, in terms of, this is not a draft that has a lot of big time names. Right. So normally when you start talking about the draft, you come right off the back talking about some big time names. But you both have talked about some remarkable numbers that are being put up. So what I'm saying is to negate the big time names that are missing across the board in this particular draft, like even when you look at the quarterback position, after Mendoza, everybody else is a crapshoot when it comes to quarterback. You look at the running back position, after Jeremiah Love, you don't really have anybody highly touted. So are these combine numbers good enough to combat the lack of star power that's not in this draft?
I think they will be, because I can tell you this. Normally, we will be able to tell you the top 10 people in the draft coming up at this particular time a year. This year, you could probably name the quarterback and maybe a linebacker, and that's it.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I can name more than that, H.O.
Well, that's because it's it's not unanimous, is what I'm saying. It's not
Yeah.
unanimous.
I get what you're saying. Quarterbacks are terrible. All this hype about the 2026 class, quarterbacks are terrible. They really overrated this class. Next year is going to be way better than this class. They really put a lot of stock into this class, which wasn't worth the time. Because, like Rev said, and you said, well, you got Mendoza, and then they said Simpson, who I wish the Steelers would draft Ty Simpson. I'll fight them all day if they even think about drafting him. And you got quarterbacks there already. And then after that, you got Drew Aller, fraud. Garrett Nussmeier, fraud. Cade Klubnik, double fraud. I mean,
Carson Beck.
Fraud. Well, he took him to the national championship. I take that back. He ain't all the way fraud.
He's a fraud.
And Diego Pavia.
So to my point, Coach, you cannot give me a consistent, unanimous top 10 in this draft. That's why that's why all of the coaches are showing up to this draft to try to make good on something that they could and may miss on. And it's gonna be a lot of misses on this in this draft. Trust and believe.
I can see that.
More defense.
I can definitely see that. Let me go to some of these comments. Timothy Sago said, why HBCU players are still getting snubbed? It's a shame. That's a good question. I think in this Neil era, HBCUs are going to be hurt because a lot of their top players, once they have a good season, they're trying to transfer, which minimizes the effectiveness of the HBCUs. So now, back in the day when you had like a Poole or a Shannon Sharp that would stay for 2, 3, 4 years, now these HBCU players, as soon as they have one great year, they're going for greener pastures to get that money, the D1 programs. So when you have that dynamic, that's going to hurt HBCUs long term because the mindset is, all right, as soon as you ball out, you leave the HBCUs. So we might not see as many HBCU players get looks at the next level since a lot of them are leaving after 1 year to go to a bigger program if they have a big season.
So to your point, Rev, I would say the question would be, how many players get drafted from a D1 college that transferred from an HBCU? That would be the question to probably ask and to see and to probably do homework on, because to your point, if they leave and go to a bigger school for more of a bag and more exposure, then that answers the question.
Yeah. And that's a great point because, like, in last year's draft, we saw two. One got drafted high.
Continue to go up.
Right. You know, with Travis from Colorado, and then Shador later on in the draft. So that's two right there that left HBCU to go to bigger D1 school. So it's going to be interesting. That's a great point, Horace. The VP said, the combine accolades are all fine and good until someone asks players whether or not their mom is a prostitute. Winston said the Styles brothers lit the combine up. Sadiq was already the number one tight end on Draft Boards, but he's just locked in unless he can only lift 225 pounds 10 times. LOL. Diego Pavia and LiAngelo Ball will be the headlining valet parking for the 2026 NFL Hall of Fame game. Red said Diego Pavia is going to talk himself into a really bad situation, starting not to like this kid starting. Okay. Winston said Sonny Styles had the same 40 time as Bijan, the same broad jump as Julio. That's impressive. Red said bad sheep ball going to be serving drinks and taking concession stands orders. Timothy said Diego Pavia wants the Heisman handed to him like Sucker Maria Machado handed Trump her Nobel Peace Prize. Go take several seats. Joe Black, who's coming in on YouTube as I am Jameson. Carson Beck is fraud. Red Rose said better look to the Arena League and CFL for QBs this year. The VP said also shows the laziness of scouts. And the VP said Diego Pavia is a slot wide receiver at best. You're not Doug Flutie, my guy. And Joe Black is wishing Red a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Red. Yep. All right, let's move on. And we're going to talk some pro basketball. Should the NBA 65 game rule be removed? That's pertaining to players not being eligible for postseason awards such as MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the like, because they did not play 65 games, and we got a couple of players that are teetering on not being able to be MVP, and like Jokic, you can only miss, I think, a couple more games. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander only can miss 9 more games, and a couple other players who are almost at that point of missing too many games. So should the NBA remove this rule? Coach, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Yes, they should. I mean, here's the simple situation. Okay. A player plays. He has the possibility of getting hurt and then not making 65 games. Say he makes 60. Simple solution. Don't vote for him. If he doesn't play enough games the way you feel he did enough, don't vote for him. How hard is that? Simple solution. No problem. No big deal. No fuss about anything. Just don't vote for him. Vote for somebody else who apparently played enough games to qualify. Get rid of this rule. This rule is dumb.
All right, Coach. I got a bone pick with you. You say get rid of the rule, but then you say to the voters, if they don't play enough games, don't vote for them. So why not just why just not put the rule intact if you're asking folk not to vote for them?
Well, basically, again, I forgot I'm combating your logic again. I keep forgetting. I have to stop when I'm thinking about that. I say that. But what I mean is, say a guy plays 64 games and has a great season. Is he going to be punished because he's not playing 65? Because he got hurt playing the game? It's not like he sat out. It just, I know they're doing it to stop this low man with Joker just sitting out not playing. What if he legitimately got hurt and he played as much as he could, he ended up playing 64 games and averaged a triple-double? Are you going to punish him for missing that one game extra?
So basically saying get rid of the rule while use discretion and let it be contextual. Is that what you're arguing?
Contextual is just another word that I can't know the meaning. I don't know the meaning of, but anyway.
Contextual deals with look at why the person missed the game. So that would be the context. So if it's legitimate injury, that would be the context of why they didn't make the 65 games.
Right. I like I said, the rule is to punish these people just going to sit out games. I know that's why they came up with to punish those people doing load management, like a Kawhi Leonard or one of those people. But it's a slippery slope to me. I just don't think it helps. I don't know what I'm saying right now. I got confused all of a sudden. You went contextuality.
All right, let's go to the comments, and we're gonna come to you, and maybe Coach might develop a more informed thought that he can articulate.
Yes. Well, I told you earlier why he root for the wrong blue. That's why he's confused.
The VP said no, it should not be removed. Notice we're talking about this in the load management era. Never talked about this before. I guess Red had to be talking about good point to the VP, not what Coach just said, because Coach still trying to figure out what he was saying. So the VP says 65 games is 79% of games played out of the 82. That's fair. Play more games so that you can be eligible. Folks are spending their hard-earned money to come see you. You're sitting out just because. And you know what that stands for right there. All right, Red Rose said these lazy players don't deserve accolades if they're in street clothes most of the season. VP said, note to the Red and Red Sports Show fans out there. If Coach shows up as your lawyer, oversized suit and fumbling briefcase, you're going to jail, dog.
VP, you said that before. Why don't you go attend a reunion or something?
Red Rose said, if it were me, I'd make it 70 games. You shouldn't miss more than 10 to 12 games and expect awards at season end. Timothy Sagos, look at Rev using words like he graduated from 225 certified. Absolutely not. It's all about that school on the hill, baby. All about that school on the hill. Benjamin E. Mays Drive. But Ho,
Yeah.
what do you have to add after you heard what Coach was trying to figure out and then what the Revenite Nation said?
Well, I would say Coach probably can spell the word. He probably don't know what it means, but he can probably spell it as he's a 6th grade spelling bee champion. But I would say they couldn't get rid of the rule. I think this is the one rule that the NBA actually got right. The only thing I would add is that the NBA probably needs to hire their own doctors to legitify all of the injuries for the player. And I think that this is the rule that needs to stay in play that keeps everybody accountable. So yeah, no, don't get rid of the rule. Keep it in play, and we'll see what happens from there. Because we want to see Kawhi play.
Okay. Red Rose said, Coach reminds me of the lawyer in My Cousin Vinny, the first one who got fired.
All right. Corny.
All right. Joe said, can you really be an award winner missing more than 20% of games? And I think the VP brought up a great point in terms of the financial ramifications. You're looking at it from the standpoint, he talked about the fans. Fans are paying big money that they can't get back, trying to see these players play, and some of them just not playing because of load management. Then you got to look at the owners, right? The owners are now having to pay money based on regular season accolades. So if a player gets first team, second team, third team, they get max contracts tied to these making the teams. So from that standpoint, I think there got to be some rules as well, because if I'm an owner, if we talk about the best ability is availability, and I got to pay this guy a max contract because he made the first, second, third all NBA team only playing 40 games, that ain't helping me out long term. And that's what the player can negotiate, because those are the rules. So as the rules work for the players, if they make these teams, at some point the rules got to work for the owners as well as work for the fans. And I think that's only fair why they got these things in place, because I remember the year Joel Embiid, I think he was up for MVP or something. He only played half the season. And I think it was Rookie of the Year. Even though he was in his second year, he only played half the season. If he played that, it was up for Rookie of the Year. And he had no business being in the conversation. So I think this rule is fair in light of what the VP talked about, load management. Just like the NBA had to change the All-Star game because the All-Stars didn't take it seriously, the NBA had to intervene again and try to do something about a problem that is very paramount in the league. And they had to stop this foolishness where guys are getting paid, guys are getting accolades without any consequences. So I'm all for
But okay.
I'm all for the rule. Go ahead, Coach.
I get what you're saying, but I know, and I, like I said, the rule is in place to punish those people.
Go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
Oh, the rule is in place to deal with those athletes who try to use load management. That's what the rule is. It's for them, you know. But if you have a guy that played only 40% of the season and you still are voting for him, they need to take away your voting privileges. That's your fault. That's the voters' fault. That's dumb. You shouldn't even be allowed to vote if you give an MVP consideration to someone who ain't played, barely played a fourth of the season. Come on. That should be a common sense thing. You can't give them anything. It's to stop the low management people. But I mean, after all this, okay, we're gonna keep it in place. But like I said, I just would hate to see somebody like Nikola Jokic, who he ain't my favorite player, but he's still a great player, fall under that threshold where he missed that next game because he get hurt or because Lou Dort decided to go WWE on him again and knock him out, and he missed a game, and boom, that ends his chance to get the MVP or anything.
Well, Coach, there's a such thing when it comes to the voters where they said you got to save people from themselves, right? And you keep talking about voters having the ability not to vote for a particular person. One of the things you have to understand is that that's a difficult thing, especially if a reporter is in a particular market. And the market may call on him to have to vote for somebody who only played 40 games because that's where that person gets their money and their clout from being a reporter. So if it were just national analysts that vote for this thing, that's one thing. But you're talking about people who are in different regions where a lot of what they say and do can be somewhat dictated by the market that they're in. So that's not always an easy thing for reporters to say, well, I'm not going to vote for this guy who this fan base wants to be voted for no matter how many games they did not play. So sometimes you got to save reporters from themselves. And the rule does that, save them from themselves.
This is where the NBA can implement doctors to legitimize the injury. In that way, if it's a legitimate injury based on the NBA, then he doesn't lose a game because of that. So he can still qualify based on the legitimacy of the injury.
The only thing about that whole is if it's a legitimate injury, but they missed 30 games, then what?
Well, you have to go back 30 games to check out. To make sure. You have to do it from the beginning to make sure that it is a legitimate injury. And if that's the case, then it would be communicated to the team that this is not a legitimate injury. He needs to play. And once that is done, and if continues to sit out, then let the team be fined for not playing a player that's not legitimately hurt. I know that's going through some red tape, but I mean, in order for the owners to save money and to get this thing right and to be accountable for all of this, then it may take some red tape to have to go through.
That's an interesting take that you have. And you know that if the NBA did implement the rule where they were monitoring all the injuries, the NBA have a lot of doctors on the payroll. You got to have a lot of doctors to accommodate all the injuries. Joe said, Coach, when you look at our country, do you really trust people to have common sense?
Well, you know the old saying, it ain't common sense because everybody ain't got it, so it ain't common, in the store. Yeah. Okay.
Good. Winston said, keep it in place, but lower it to 60 games or put the type of injuries being an exclaim or disclaim. Injuries being okay. If you miss 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain because someone undercut you on the landing, that's not on you. That's a fair point. Like if somebody intentionally hurt you, then those games shouldn't count against you.
Well, see, that's to the legitimacy of the injury. Going back to that again.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's something to explore, especially if it was out of your control. And if it was that's a fair point. But
you know what though? To come to think about it, it is a fair point. But just like anything in the hood, we'll figure out a way to get around it, because we can go to the doctor right now and get a doctor's excuse for work and say we shouldn't come to work because I'm sick. But you're not sick. But you can get a doctor excuse to say that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Fair point.
Yeah. So then you got the NBA doctors being on players' payroll to say that I'm legitimately hurt when you're really not.
Yeah. Yeah. Red said, "Ho gonna turn the NBA into the pit."
Rev. Go ahead.
VP said that's fair, Winston. Make it 62 games. You play 75% of the games. You're eligible for awards. Red said we're going to have doctors and nurses everywhere. Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, Rev, you made me think about the time, and you'll know this. When you are a coach in high school, those kids have to turn in physicals, and the physicals have to be signed off by a doctor in order for them to play. How about I had a young fella who decided to put a fraudulent name on there, and thank the Lord above, we checked it before we let him play, because I was saying to myself, dog, that could have been a serious situation if he got out there and tore his ankle and he didn't have a legit doctor and we let him play, and that's a job loss.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be real careful.
For sure. VP said NBA doctors could be up to their shenanigans. Doctors working for the NBA, there could be some biased diagnosis all over the place. That's a possibility. It's a possibility. All right, let's move on real quickly to this college basketball notes. Coach, anything stands out to you with the college basketball landscape right now?
I just want to ask you all a question. What do you all give a percentage on what do you think the Miami of Ohio team goes far into the NCAA tournament, even though they are 28-0 right now? Give a percentage.
That they remain undefeated?
Yeah.
Maybe 1%. Maybe 1%.
So basically, you ain't giving them no chance of going into the tournament, remaining and winning.
Nah, because you're talking about running the field, and that's a whole different ballgame from the conference that they play in. And I mean, you're talking about the big dogs they'd be constantly playing during the NCAA tournament. So I would have to give them 1%.
Okay.
I like for them to possibly win the conference tournament, and win one game in March, and that's it. Round of 32, then they out. Because the stage will be too big for the team and the coach at that particular point. Because the pressure builds up when you the underdog at that level.
Okay.
You go from not being expected to win to being expected to win based on what kind of season you'd have had. But that's a whole lot of pressure for a team who hasn't been there, who hadn't, been used to that type of pressure. So maybe one game in the tournament, and then the second game they out of there. So maybe 3%, maybe.
Okay. All right. Red initially said 10% as he laughed. VP said 2.56%. And Red said I meant negative 10%. So basically they're both saying it's not likely to happen. So that'll be interesting. All right. So anybody got anything to say about any of the freshman players or anything about your respective teams? For we know,
I got a whole lot to say about Jamal Mashburn and his dumb comment about Cooper Flagg and his freshman group. He said that Cooper Flagg, if he didn't reclassify, would be a part of this freshman group, and said he would not be drafted in the top 12 draft in this year's draft if he stayed in his class, which would be this class. I lost all kind of respect for Jamal Mashburn at that particular point because I'm like, really? He must not be watching basketball this year to say something like that. But I think this freshman class fits what the NBA does for this year, for what the NBA is delivering and how they play this year. Very athletic, very up and down, and can shoot the ball. Bigs can shoot and dribble and things of that nature. So this class is a little advanced for what the NBA has to offer for this year. So I would give them that. But overall, we'll have to wait and see.
all right. VP said Jerry Stackhouse must be smoking on that icky.
What Stackhouse got to do with anything?
Yeah, I was wondering where he came out with Stackhouse.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
VP, you must be smoking on something. What Stackhouse got to do with this?
Maybe it's this. He says the Red Hawks will go down in the Sweet 16. All right.
Whatever.
Winston said, Red Rose said, Jamal Mashburn, what he up to these days? ESPN fired him a long time ago. Winston said, Jamal had to been drunk when he said that. Coop would have been top any of the last 23 drafts. All right, we're going to push the pause button there, and we're going to take halftime of the Red and Red Sports Show. Thanks so much for you all tuning in to the first half. We gave you our dope Nope and Coke moments. Talked a little NFL Combine. We talked NBA standards for post regular season awards, and then also we just got through talking about our college basketball notes. On the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about the Braves, Kevin Durant, the Braves.
And we also wish Red a happy birthday, so let's not leave that out from the first half.
We did, and we do. And we hope that he doesn't do anything that'll get him in trouble on his birthday. Rose, and we'll talk about Rondell Moore as well. So a lot of this stuff is coming up on the second half of the Red and Red Sports Show, featuring Coach and having our special guest, Hope, on today for the Sports Roundtable. We'll be right back. And we're back for the second half of the Red and Rev Sports Show. Thanks so much for tuning in with us on today. We look forward to going into our second half of the Red and Rev Sports Show, where we'll be doing our 5 for 5 moment, where we'll have 5 minutes to talk about 5 particular topics, each for 5 minutes. Our panelists will give us 1 minute of commentary. Then we take the River Night Nation's commentary, and then whatever time is left, Rev might add his 2 cents. With that being said, let's see. Red Rose said, thanks for the birthday wishes, Rev Coach and Ho and the entire Rev Night crew. Much appreciated. Good deal. VP said, cut off your mics when on break. Tidbit of advice. Red has to be reminded to mute when he uses the bathroom.
Tidbit is tidbit, Jerome. TID. Tidbit, not tidbit.
You just called the VP Jerome. You meant to say that?
I know. Yeah, because that Jerome would spell like that. Yeah. He'll make a spelling faux pas like that. So.
Oh man, Coach done called the VP Jerome case. Lord have mercy. There may be backlash. There may be coming.
It's coming.
All right, let's get to this 5 for 5 where we have 5 hot topics that we'll talk about 5 minutes each. Panelists, again, will get 1 minute to talk as freely, 45 seconds. Individual screen, 15 seconds. Corporate screen, if you go over that minute, I will politely put you on mute, go to the next person, or we go to Reverend Night Nation. All right. The VP said LOL and Q Lunit, so we will follow those directions, and I believe he did spell Lunis correctly, Coach. And Winston messing with you, tidbit, Norbit.
Take us in time.
I like that. All right, we're going to cue Lunis as the VP instructed. Let's do that in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get it rocking. The Red Rose said vengeance will be the VP. LOL. That's funny. All right, let's get into it, man. First hot topic. The Atlanta Braves said, you know what? We're not relying on anybody else to cover us. We're going to cover ourselves and start our own network because we got it like that. Let's start with Ho. What's your thoughts, man?
Hey, great move. The only thing I want to know is now, will they be able to spend some money on pitching now that you got a network that will bring you back some money, hopefully? That's the only concern that I have. Now will you be able to go into the purse or wallet, whichever you choose, to spend some money on some decent pitching now? Because you're letting all the pitching get away. And signing Chris Sale to an extension is not going to help us this year. So I'm concerned. But great that we can see the Braves, even though I have my Fire Stick and I can get it. I can get it anyway. But good the Braves got their own network. Maybe that will influence some of the other Atlanta teams to get their own network. We'll see.
Coach, what you got?
Smart move by the Braves to extend. You reach out to the audience. It made me go back to those old days of the powder blue uniforms and the Superstation. That's all you see, Braves baseball when I was down in Mississippi in my crooked letter. They talk about Braves baseball on the Superstation. And now the Braves are saying, hey, we want to keep it going, we want to extend our market out, so could possibly get some free agents to see this and say, hey, they got a good team. Let me see if I can come in there and join. I don't know. So good move by the Braves.
All right, let's see what Reverend Knight Nation has to say, if they have anything. Winston said that's a boss move, dog. Brave just opened up multiple new streams of revenue now. They reinvested back into the team for assets. That's the hope, and that goes back to Ho's point, hoping that assets that they gain from having a network will materialize and being able to pay some folk to get on the team. The VP said, the old days of WTBS, the Superstation, low-key Ted Turner was an innovator. Yeah, that'd be great if the Braves can get back to having their own network where it helps them out, especially financially, to spend some money, because that's what it's going to take to compete in this current day in a MLB. Dodgers still the favorite to win, for sure. All right, Coach, you're up. One of your former favorite players, Kevin Durant, sounds off on his basketball critics. What says you about him? Go, Coach.
Kevin Durant, your ears stick up more than your hairline and your hair. Everything somebody say, you don't have to comment about it, KD. That's how they know they got you. They know if they say something on social media, you gonna respond. Just play basketball, my brother. You shouldn't have to worry about nothing. You in the top 5 all-time of scoring. You go into the Hall of Fame. You are an established basketball player and one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. Why you worry about some guy who on time he played basketball was when he tried to shoot his underclothes into the clothes hamper? I mean, come on, man. You argue with somebody like that? Let it go. You done what you need to do. Stop being so picky. I can use that word.
All right, go ahead, Ho. What you got?
Yeah, I agree with Coach once again. The ears are very, very sensitive. I mean, what did you expect from Kevin Durant? You know he's going to be listening. He got so many Twitter handles that he hears every single thing. And the one thing that you love is basketball. So anytime you critique anything about any kind of basketball, he's going to respond and he's going to be rabbit ears. But other than that, I mean, I would say continue to be great and do great things. Kevin Durant is missing a role model because there are plenty of superstars at his level that would treat this as water on the duck's back and just let it roll off. But his superstardom hasn't gained that maturity yet. But one day maybe it will, but it's running out of time. But still a great player, but very, very sensitive. And I think he'll go down in history as that.
All right, let's see what Reverend Nation got to say.
Nation.
The VP said the Durantula again, brand new with that new skincare endorsement, CeraVe. Which burner is this one? VP said KD is going to tell his mama.
Uh-oh.
That's funny.
Yeah, y'all better be careful. Tell my mama.
I think we're seeing the evidence of someone who did not have a strong father figure, not being able to teach him how to bounce some things off, because he is very sensitive. And the mama, being sheltered by mama, shows up in incidents like this. Going back to the Braves, I should have covered this one. Oh, it's back on you. You mentioned it in your first take about the Braves and the network. Braves extend Chris Sale. Is Ronald Acuna Jr. next? What says you?
I think he should be next. Go ahead and get him on just to show some love to him. Go ahead and give him maybe 8 years, $350 million or somewhere like that, just to show that you want him to be a Braves for life. But I wouldn't get into the 500,000 mark with him. But signing Chris Sales, okay, cool. But what do we have for this year? So I think that's all I got for those two.
Coach, what you got, Coach?
I agree with HO. You got you pay him a good amount, a solid amount, and the bidders are gonna come now. They coming out the woodwork when they see. So you gonna have a fight on your hands, but hey, give him what he's worth. $350 million a year. I could see him getting, not a year, I mean in the contract. It's gonna be good. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he can stay injury free for a year.
All right. See if Reverend Nation got anything to say. Winston went back to Durant. I think Durant believes he's the gatekeeper to keeping the purity of hooping, but he's still on alert with something to say. We got to lighten up, way too sensitive.
Yeah, he's sensitive.
I'm going to say this. I don't think the Braves should try to extend Acuna until they find out what's going to be what with the collective bargaining agreement. There's no need to sign him to an astronomical contract when we know that there's probably going to be some labor duress coming into next season. So I would wait until the parameters are set going forward for what MLB contracts will be like, and also if there'll be some semblance of a salary cap. That's my 2 cents.
All right.
If we wait until he has a healthy season, the number goes up astronomically.
Well, I think it's going to go up anyway because he's been drastically underpaid. So I don't care what if he's hurt, if they still believe he's going to be able to produce, that number's going to be up because his agent's going to make sure it's been up because the Braves have been paying him bargains for years.
Well, it seemed like they knew something because out of the contract, out of the whole contract, he's missed 2 seasons. So I think that balances it out. So the Braves' point is, I can pay you now $350 million, even though you've been hurt two seasons out of the contract that we've already paid you. So moving forward, this is just something to let you know that we still care about you. We still think you're a part of the team. So let's go ahead and give it to you now, just to show loyalty and faithfulness.
That sounds good, Hope.
Yeah.
If I'm Ronald Acuna Jr.'s agent, I hear you, but I don't feel you. After you've been paying me for all the production, regardless of my 2 injuries, $12.5 million a year. That's his average salary from the contract that he's currently on. Meanwhile, you get somebody like Juan Soto Jr., who's played around the same amount of time, and his contract is 15 years for $765 million.
But he had missed 2 years though.
Yeah, but are we still saying even with 2 injuries, Ronald Acuna is a $12.5 million player?
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is being hurt goes on your resume, and I don't know what's to come if you hadn't proven to me that you can stay healthy.
I agree, and that's even more the reason why they're going to go for the astronomical number because of his injury history. So, like, there's no, I don't think there's going to be any bargain, hometown discount, because the Braves, if we're honest, they basically got over on Acuna in a legal way. He accepted the contract, right? That contract is well below his worth at this juncture, while, to your point, he's had 2 seasons in the injuries. But then the man had a 70-40 season that is well worth 30-40 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like he might be back to the old Acuna because yesterday's spring training game, he stole 2 bases.
He hit a grand slam.
And a grand slam. So, you know.
Yeah. So give 350 in incentive base that can go up to 450,000.
How many years you giving him 350?
8.
So you're talking about 44 years.
Yeah.
That's a pay increase.
Yeah. I mean there's
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That's a pay increase.
Now you've covered yourself. You paying him now before anything else happened with this bargaining agreement. You just got a brand new television network that can bring in some money that guarantees that people want to see Ronald Acuna in Atlanta. He's eyeballs that can bring you eyeballs to the Braves network. So to keep him you're gonna really pay the network will pay him just from the network alone. And then I cover myself by making incentive base to make sure that he stays healthy.
Okay, that's fair.
And if I move him down in the order to the 3 or 4 spot, that can guarantee that I keep him out of harm's way. That he don't have to get on base and try to steal. He can just be a RBI guy.
Well, you paying him that $40 million to be what he is. Part of what he is his speed.
Yeah, we can use that speed in the outfield and catch balls.
All right. Next one, Coach, we get ready. Falcons fired their assistant coach because of rape allegations. What you got to say, Coach?
Yes. Seems like Atlanta public schools have better background checks than the Falcons. Good Lord. They not doing that. They're not doing that job as far as checking out what these guys are doing or have done in the past, because some of this stuff shouldn't be able to get slipped by you, young Matthew Ryan, Matt Ice, but if it's your fault, or Cunningham, but it's just a shame that stuff like that, and people put themselves in situations to try to get a job knowing that this stuff has happened or allegedly has happened. So I don't know. It's just a bad look.
It's finally coming out. That Arthur Blank and the leadership of the I was gonna say Atlanta Braves, but the Atlanta Falcons have turned their head, even though they say they don't want the Thuggish Ruggish Bone in Atlanta. And it seems like that if you do other kind of under the table type of things, that it's acceptable. But this is absolutely unacceptable. So yeah, this is terrible. Background checks needs to be a must when you get this type of job in the NFL.
All right. Let's see. Going back to the Acuna, the whole say 8 years, $350 million. Dude, we Braves, not the Dodgers or Yankees.
Yeah, but with a new TV network, you could be.
He says, I don't think the Braves will ever give anyone a $300 million deal.
We said that about Austin Riley. He got $250.
All right. Magic City does better background checks than the Falcons. Winston said the only saving grace for Matt is that Moore swept this matter under the rug for 2 years, but the chickens are coming home to roost. This offseason for the Falcons is showing leadership needs change. When Vincent said, when are these ninjas gonna learn? LaTroy embarrassing the answer. Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, it's on you, man. Is Rondell Moore suicide sending a message? What said you?
There's only one phrase that could that makes sense, and that's mental health is very, very serious, and we have to take it serious. The mental health is serious. The man had no backup plan other than football, and it showed with the suicide. He had no other option other than football, and when he couldn't play, then this is what you get. And it also sends a message that football players, any kind of athlete, please take care of your body so you can stay healthy, because it shows the injuries can take you out of here sooner or later. But mental health is real.
Coach?
I mean, this just shows you that people who you may think have it all together may not have it all together. You know, people can be the richest person in the world and they have problems that you don't know about. If they keep it hidden, if you don't talk to people or, you know, check on people or, you know, if you don't notice things about people, something happens all the time. And it manifests itself in something that's too late to deal with. So, yeah, we need to check on our people from the bottom to the top, no matter how happy they are. Because this is, like H.O. said, this is real, very real. And it's scary to be that real, but it's a part of life.
All right. I think this discussion, I'm going to turn the music off. I think it lends itself to a deeper conversation, and that is helping people understand purpose, right? Life's purpose. And this is the danger when life revolves around a game. Because one of the things that we all know is the shelf life of being an athlete is not long at the end of the day. So there has to be some discovery of purpose, reason for being beyond just a sport. And I think if we are able to help people understand that well before they get into the sport, then that will give people reason and purpose for living beyond just playing a sport. And a lot of that stuff comes from upbringing, village, school teachers, college professors, so forth and so on, different people that are in our path to help us be shaped into ultimately who God created us to be. And that's the one thing that I always fear for a lot of Black athletes in particular, that everything centers around sport. And, you know, I've learned myself through my own injuries that sport is just a short season. You're going to have many more years of life not playing sports if you're blessed to live long enough. So I think it's a purpose conversation, helping people find meaning beyond playing a sport, which is difficult for some people. VP says sad situation, mental health is key. That should be top topic in our community, and it isn't. Winston said if you look at older videos or more, you can see he was mentally struggling, especially the video at practice with J.J. Watt. Check on your people. A smile hides a lot of struggle. Alexis says, hey, guys, fortunately, the Braves won't be able to afford Acuna by a long shot. They don't pay their players long-term high-value contracts like that. They aren't really allowed to. Winston said, I'll be doing the second episode of our mental health series tonight. If y'all want to join, probably around 7 o'clock. Coach, if y'all are available, feel free. I got to prepare to work tomorrow. But I appreciate what Winston is doing and bringing attention to mental health through his social media platform. That's dope. And
Can I add a question to that?
Go ahead.
Are we putting more value to sports than we are mental health and how people are struggling in the everyday life? Or are we forgetting that athletes are people first before they're athletes?
I think that what you asked is they're all in conjunction with one another. So like mental health can be an issue when you don't have purpose. When you think more about the sport than you think about purpose. So if your mental health is dependent upon the sport that you play and the sport that you play is not being, in quotes, kind to you, that's how you develop depression.
Yep.
Right? That's how you develop feeling like a lost cause if this is not working for you. I'm reminded of that episode of Good Times back in the day when what was that basketball player's name?
Oh yeah.
You remember that episode where he was like,
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he was big, he was big time. You know, he went off to college. College didn't go well for him. I think it was like Robert somebody, I can't remember. So he came to this like house party at the Evans household and he felt like a failure. And he started getting drunk and wanted to overdose because he felt like he had let the public down because they had this big persona of him based on what he did in high school. And that lets you know that all of his chips were in becoming this big time basketball player. And that's where your mental health can really tank if you put all your chips into one basket. And that's why I think goes back to our development before we get to a certain level, like where we need coaches to talk to us in rec ball, middle school, high school, that there's more to life than sport, right? That's what coaches used to do.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, we got the coaches who are trying to profit off these kids that they think are going to go pro. So they're pushing them trying to get pros so they can get something back from them. But we got to put values into the kids and let kids know that, you know, sports is not the end all be all, because at the end of the day, when you're younger, there's only a few that are going to ever make it professional. And like even now, with the landscape of NIL, the amount of kids that are going to go to college to play sports, big time sports, going to even be fewer. Yeah. Because those opportunities are not there like they used to be, because dudes are milking that NIL money, especially if they don't believe that they are guaranteed to have a major college career. So, you know, that what you brought up was very loaded. And I think the different sides that people have to choose to confront mental health with, like what causes it, then on the other side, what can prevent it, you know, helping people find purpose and things of that nature. All of those things go hand in hand.
So his name was Simpson, Robert Simpson. Real.
Yeah. Simpson.
What we can't ignore is that mental health has a lot of extensions: childhood trauma, depression, also dealing with peer pressure, as Len Bias had to deal with peer pressure, and that took his life away, trying to do drugs and peer pressure as well. So it has a lot of extensions to it that we may not pay attention to, that we need to bring to light as well. That it goes far deeper than just suicide and suicidal and depression thoughts. It has different coping mechanisms that we may not be aware of, especially peer pressure, and trying to live up to the confines of what everybody else expects us to be and do, especially when we got all of the hip hop world doing this and doing this and having beef with others and things of that nature. And if you don't drive a certain car, don't live a certain way, that also can contribute to mental health.
Yeah, and to your point in terms of living up to expectations, that's even magnified now in this social media world.
Yes, it is.
You know, because the more you're in the spotlight, the more scrutiny can come and the more failure is real. Red said mental health is real. That's why I hate when folks use it as an excuse for some BS when there are people actually dealing with this troubling condition every moment of every day. 100 Winston said, most fans see athletes as just athletes, like because you're playing a pro sport, your life is predetermined. You have to remember that they come from all walks of life with a dramatic change in reality. He also says, I tell anyone I'd rather hear your story than to read your obituary. That's good. Reach out. My inbox is always open. VP said that episode, JJ's friend was Robert, cut from the team, failed out of college, old girlfriend is with someone else. Bro loses it and tries to kill himself with sleeping pills. I remember that episode. That should be recommended watching for collegiate and professional athletes, no doubt about it. Red said, and so many athletes are pressured to be great because they put the entire survival of a family, community, or even city on their shoulders, and sometimes not just fair. That's real. That's real. Let those people breathe and think for themselves. VP said, FYI, good times. Season 4, episode 18 of Friend in Need. Thank you, man, for giving us the direct episode. Look at him being a great researcher.
Real, do you think that the mental health, well, I do, is a precursor to situations where I think it's gonna come out when he's dealing with cats like James Pierce, a cat who had everything, and then when it gets taken away, you explode inside and don't know how to handle it because you're always so used to having everything. And now your mind is like, this never happened to me before. I've always had what I want.
So what you're bringing up is how mental health can be a result of not having core values, not having morals and things that it's like there are a lot of different things that trigger mental health. It could be family trauma, right? Untreated childhood wounds.
Yeah, that's why I said it's different extent.
I mean, it's not like a monolith. It's not a one thing fits all. Mental health can come from a bad breakup. It can come from domestic abuse.
Yeah.
It can come from losing a job, being treated unfairly. It could be from sexually harassed. It could be from the death of a family member. It could be, tragic death or just not being able to cope with the loss of someone close to you. It can come from losing an animal. I mean, it's a lot of things that can cause mental health and depression. And that's why, it's a case-by-case scenario, and you can never treat everyone in the same vein when we talk about mental health. And I think that's the danger in the conversation when we just say mental health, not knowing that there are different things that can trigger mental health issues.
So
go
ahead.
I remember a young lady that was in high school with me. She made A's all the way up to her 12th grade year. And then she made a B in her class. She absolutely freaked out. Because she never made less than a B before, and she made that B and she lost her complete mind.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. That can trigger mental health as well. Not living up to your own expectations or other people's expectations.
So can we talk about therapy at this point? Because I will be the first to say that I went to therapy and it opened my eyes and discovered some things that I was unaware of that got me out of a mental blockage that was so dark at the time. So I think we have to encourage therapy, seeking help. even if you're not aware, because 90% people not aware that they have childhood trauma or any kind of trauma. They just continue to live their day as if everything is cool. So just imagine if it is implemented in the NFL that you have to go through a therapy session as a rookie to identify certain things so you can be monitored as you go through your NFL career.
I think that's real. I'm gonna make it contextual to the Black perspective. Even in religious circles, it's been said that every Black church should really have a therapist on staff because of the generational trauma that Black folk have experienced over hundreds of years here in America. And I think that trauma is very much prevalent in a lot of Black households. You know, we know the trauma stemmed from, originated from slavery, Jim Crow, being taught to be inferior, being taught it was unlawful to teach Black people how to read and write. And then also the trauma came from families being intentionally broken, right? Mm-hmm. Selling male members of the family off, fathers off. You got slave masters using Black women for recreational sex, fathering kids that they didn't want to be fathers to, which has caused systemic trauma over generations of families in the Black context. So therapy for a lot of Black families is necessary because we've been faced with a lot of generational trauma over the years. I will say, trying to make that mandatory may get some pushback, and particularly from the white sector of society. That we've already experienced it in school. How old are you, Ho?
Just turned 54.
All right, so you remember the years when we had in elementary school like groups based on learning abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So you had group 1, group 2, group 3. Group 1 might have been those who excel. Group 2 would be the average learners. Group 3 might be the lower learners, right? So we remember back in the day when special needs kids had their own classroom.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But we know as time went on, those things got decimated because there were persons from the white culture who didn't want to embrace the fact that their kids may not be as good of learners as other kids. So that's when we started mixing all the kids together. Even if they had special needs, they started mixing all the kids together because they did not want their kids to be labeled as such with some type of learning disability or just having a problem with learning at a certain pace. I think that may come down the pike as well if you try to induce therapy upon all NFL combine draftees or something like that, where you're going to get some pushback. But I think overall, your point is good in terms of I think every player needs to be introduced to it or even just have at least a session because they're going to be dealing with certain pressures if they have not already dealt with certain pressures prior to going to the league, because mental health could come in the form of somebody taking you for your money.
Right.
You know, some woman you spending all this money on, could easily, leave you for broke if you make bad decisions, so forth and so on. So there are a lot of different things that can take place that can lead to mental health issues, and the gamut is very wide, and it's a lot of conversation. Let me go here real quickly. Anthony Corey said, I don't believe it's mental health. I believe it's more what people value. Like you said, it's family and community. A person see a Black kid at birth, the first thing in his bed, even as a toddler, is a ball, not a book. That's interesting. Harry Britton said people put their family on their shoulders, and if they fail, family hurts them. Yeah, that's true. Winston said most people that are actually dealing with mental health issues aren't diagnosed. Get help. Mental health is like a soft tissue injury. It doesn't just go away. You have to treat it or get worse. That's very true. Winston says Steve Smith had a line that stuck with me. He said he went to therapy and found out that the way he was moving was not normal, so that he was bleeding on people that didn't even cut him. That's very true.
Again, back to the NFL, but he volunteered and went. Imagine if he would have went as a rookie instead of a retired player or a player that's late on in his life, in his NFL career. Just imagine what type of person he could have turned out to be if he'd have went during his rookie year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from the point like a Ron Artest, who was dependent, he was taking care of his family and just getting robbed by different people. It's so many different ways. Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff. You know, you look at somebody like Lonzo Ball, you know, who couldn't even trust his own dad.
Yeah,
because his dad allowed his business partner to take some of their money away, and that caused a rift, and that could easily cause trust issues. That can lead to mental health issues. So the gamut is so wide, and it's nothing that we should play around with. And I think if they don't have them, every NFL team should have mental health counselors on payroll.
Yeah. To my point, I guess to my question, do you, as a Rev, get into counseling and then get into life coaching? Do you see yourself getting into more of life coaching as you counsel people in a spiritual realm without necessarily knowing that that's what you're doing?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it life coaching from my perspective. I would call it more pastoral care.
Okay.
Because I'm more so life coaching. You kind of sometimes using motivational tactics. Pastoral care, you're kind of using more from a biblical perspective to help people see the hope in God through Jesus Christ. So it's kind of two different angles. But what I am clear about is that once I see that a person's situation is beyond my scope, then I need to refer them to someone who has more education and experience in what they may be dealing with, to be able to unpack all of the layers,
right?
Because there's strategy that's necessary, first of all, to get people to be honest about what's going on, and then to be willing to share what's going on.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
And sometimes even in religious communities, because people have been plagued by church hurt, people may not always be willing to be forthcoming because they don't trust that what they say is going to be kept confidential. So that's sometimes what we're dealing with in the church realm. And sometimes that is stemming from they can't even trust their own family members.
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? So that transfers over, which makes it sometimes hard to be able to address issues that come to me. And to be honest, there are a lot of people where I can see the issues, but they don't want to make themselves vulnerable, because sometimes as Black people, and this is where we struggle, we try to put this mask so that people can perceive us as one way, when reality is a whole nother story, that we're not who we truly try to portray ourselves to be. If we're honest, we're broken inside. And not too many people want to reveal that broken side.
I would say it like this. A lot of people say that they're okay, but don't really know what not being okay looks like.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to like where someone wisely said, it's okay not to be okay. And then the other thing we're dealing with, and this is where we have to deal with the flaws of our ancestors, right? Because even in the spiritual realm, they used to downplay the need for therapists and counseling.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need no counseling. You know, that's for crazy folk. You know, all you got to do is pray about it. And then, you know, and those type of teachings have plagued and hurt people for generations, because just as God is called preachers, God is also called counselors, therapists as well, to do the work to help bring about the necessary mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical transformation that people need.
Yeah.
All right, let me say this. See a couple more comments. With especially NFL combat sports players that feel that being a little off is the edge that sets them apart from everyone else. Okay. Anthony said, I will also say it takes a different mindset to sling your body at another human willingly for a game. Maybe the it factor or the he-him player is the mentality that is the mental health you were speaking to. So that y'all begin talking to a mentality that people typically have in order to even play the game. And sometimes that might be reckless in itself. VP said if the NFL really cared, they would have a mental health symposium. They focus on financial aspects of the business with the new rookies, but the mental health aspect is becoming to be a huge issue. Incoming rookies could be suffering from this as we speak. This is an opportunity to get in front of it. It's a good point.
That's what, me and VP on the same way.
Yeah, that's
because he's a Pisces. His birthday is the day before mine, so that's why.
Yeah, them Duke fans think like that. But anyway, come on.
You can see the issue going on with Coach right now, right?
The VV said our community is behind. Vulnerability doesn't equal weakness. It equates to the first step to mending. And I think this generation of young people will be the first that have collectively been encouraged to embrace mental health. Matter of fact, there's a group at the local high school that I cover here, and it's actually a national group that caters to athletes called Morgan's Message. And where that's a group that encourages athletes to be in touch with their mental health and to seek help if they're struggling with mental issues. We didn't have those kind of organizations when we were growing up.
Right.
You know, but I think that mental health is going to be addressed in ways that was never addressed, especially when we were younger in high school and so forth and so on. Last comment, VP said our community is used to covering up our major flaws that we psychologically suffer from, like Cousin Ray that lives in the 3rd floor at Big Mama's house. We all know that Cousin Ray has mental capacity shortcomings. He's special. No, Ray is retarded and needs extra help, but we don't seek that help, sweep it under the rug. And that's very true. Very true. We want to thank you all for joining us in that real conversation on mental health. Winston, we want to thank you for inviting people to tune in to your mental health segment, 2nd episode of it. If you could,
drop it in the
put it in the chat. Your podcast, what time, and so forth and so on, so that we can highlight it before we go, if you're still around. And I know I can't be on it, but Coach or Horace, if y'all want to join the conversation, reach out to Winston. I'm sure he'll be happy to include you all in some capacity. All right. So Winston, if you're still around, man, put that information on how people can be a part of that chat that you're talking about on mental health through your social media platform. While we're waiting on Winston, let's move to You Have the Right. Who has the right to do what, when, where, and how? Coach, I'm going to start with you. Who has the right to do what, when, where, and how?
NFL combine. You have the right to start going back over, revamping, and allowing everybody to come to the combine. I know, like I said, there's one one HBCU kid from Arkansas Pine Bluff there. And, somebody will say that the HBCUs have their own combine. That's because they're not invited to this one. So they got to do something to get their kids looked at. So NFL, correct that and just make it a universal combine if you don't mind.
All right, who has the right to do what, when, where, and how?
Atlanta Falcons, the draft is coming up. You have the right to hire a third-party institution to do all of your background checks and to make sure that everybody you draft, I don't care, to the point where you want to know what lunch period they had. Do a background check on every single thing, and especially mental health, and to understand everything that's going on with who you draft. You have to understand who you're drafting and who you hire as well. So the next person that they hire, do a background check on them as well. And that's all I got.
I'll join in the you have the right party. NBA, you have the right to find a way to swap games out when marquee players are not available for national broadcasts. I'm tired of watching nationally televised games and the marquee players are not present. Like, for instance, the Detroit Pistons played Cleveland in the first game of a doubleheader last night. And even though Cleveland played well in that game, I don't want to watch a game when Cleveland doesn't have Donovan Mitchell or James Harden. All right, learn how to flex that game out, because these nationally televised games are not watchable when you don't have the marquee players playing. So I'm hoping that you all find the right to tweak when those games will not be as televised and just swap with somebody who has another game so that the nationally televised game can be something that is very appealing.
Yeah, exactly. We want to see Coco Jones on the sideline.
Coach Lala go get you for
my bad. Ooh, look at the time. Ooh.
All right. Did Winston do we asked?
No, not yet.
Not yet. All right. Well, if we get the information, we'll try to share the link.
Yeah, just drop it in the chat there.
Yeah. Diego Pavier. Keep talking. You will have the right to use your degree to referee rec ball on weekend. He said Diego Pavier will be coaching rec ball in Bloomington, Indiana. That's funny. All right, man. Well, we're going to put a wrap on episode 413. We want to thank everyone for watching episode 413. We want to thank Hope for joining the crew, coming in and helping us. Oh, that's the wrong song. But we want to thank him for helping us with episode 413.
Winston just put something in the chat. He said he can't.
Yes, I can't share a link from the comment section. Just put the link and we'll copy and paste it.
Or should we just tune in to the show tonight?
We're trying to get the information so people can tune in.
Oh, that's
Can he DM somebody? Can he DM one of y'all?
Yeah, DM either Michael Clayton Harris or Coach. What's your Facebook name?
He got my Facebook DM, so he know it.
DM Coach the link. And
Yeah.
we'll go from there and include the time and the name of the podcast. All right. Vincent says the eye test.
Oh, we can search the eye test, yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank y'all so much for watching episode 413. Everybody have a wonderful sports weekend. Be safe out there. God willing, we'll be back We're episode 414, same Facebook page, same YouTube channel, same time, 10:30 a.m. next Saturday. Peace and love, everybody. And again, happy birthday to one Red Rose. May God bless you and keep you. Is my sincere and fervent prayer for you, Red. Take care. Peace and love, everybody. We're out.
Later.